we're doing the intake, Burger Motorsports intake install on the 22 WRX here. I'm going and dubbing over this one. We lost some mic stuff here, and then you'll see after this bit some stuff that just went on, and I was going to have that in the full video. This has got all your components, your couplers, your worm clamps. It did have some excess material right here that did need to be shaved off. I went ahead and did that, and then you'll see it right here.
Yeah, I guess some of those real small towns in Nevada, a lot of them have whorehouses.
But yeah, we do this, a lot of the installs over at my grandpa's place because he has that pit that makes a lot of this convenient. So I didn't want him rambling through this entire damn video. Here we are just popping the clips off the intake there. Yes, my engine bay is very dirty. Shut up. Once you get that snorkel off, you're going to want to undo your worm clamp and pop off your clip for your mass airflow sensor. On this one, the JB4 was installed at this time, so you will see the clip has the sandwich clip from the JB4 in there. Yours will not. Then there's going to be two 10mm bolts on the right hand side of the intake you're going to want to pop out. There's also going to be one more nut on the front of the intake. I cannot recall if it was a 10 or a 12. I am leaning that it was a 12 that we had to get in there with a open-ended wrench. The socket wouldn't fit up in there. Here you'll want a flathead to kind of massage the mass airflow sensor clip out of the stock box. Here's the clips you'll need to pop out here. We pulled out a little too many. In reality, you only need to do the 2 in the wheel well, and then the 2 or 3 right up in front of that. You'll be able to get to your turbo and your intake. And then here's Thomas slowly admiring clips as if he's never seen them before. Mind you, we have removed all these clips before when we installed the JB4, so I actually cut a lot of footage out of this with Thomas standing here for a long time, a very, very long time, trying to get this single clip to pop loose. It was highly entertaining to watch him struggle though, not gonna lie. Here's a good view of your turbo inlet and your intake tube. The screwdriver on the worm clamp is a little bit tricky to get to depending on how it's positioned, but you can still do it quicker than pulling off that whole pan there. And I will warn you, if this is the first time you are popping it off, and probably so if you're watching the video, it is on there tight. It is very snug. That hose is a pain in the ass. And then around this point is where we made a very big mistake. I got it in my head that the rubber portion on the underside of the intake needed to stay for the new one. I don't know why. It's completely wrong. Don't do that. It makes everything so much more difficult. There's just a 10mm nut on the kind of a screw and rubber grommet down there that you need to pop off. Then make sure to zip off your mass airflow sensor here. Just be careful. You don't want to damage this guy. Then just pop your mass airflow sensor into the new intake pipe. It can only go in one way, so unless you really tried, there is no way of screwing this up. And another sample of why I chose to dub this. And this is when I realized that tube has to come off.
Oh, dude, I am an idiot. That does have to come off that.
Well, at least it'll be easier now.
It wasn't.
To make this a little easier, just put your coupler on the end of that, put your worm clamps on there, then slide it down through the little hole down there and line up your mounting bracket point, I guess, whatever the hell it's called, with that screw down there that has the rubber like washer or grommet on it already, and then just start snugging everything up.
Or you want to give it like a test turn to make sure?
No, you can start buttoning that up.
Alright. You can't trust me that it clamped it tight.
Yeah.
That was foreshadowing. He didn't clamp it tight. The whole tube was moving. We had to take it all apart and do it again. I cut that out though. The box goes in fairly simple. You just undo, I believe this is a fuse box here. You undo the nut on there, pull out the fuse box just a little bit, slide the box behind it, then sandwich it in with that nut. Then you bolt that to your other side of the box there with the 2 supplied screws. You don't want to do what we did here and install the box, then the intake filter. Put the filter on first, then put the box on. It's much easier to screw your filter on. Also, don't forget your 10mm bolts on the side of the intake. Those are pretty important. Take your supplied hardware, get the box sides bolted together. It's a little easier if you start one of the screws, leave it loose, add the other one, then you can kind of manipulate it to exactly how you want it to sit. As I mentioned before, you should do this prior to the box install. Clip in your mass airflow sensor and attach your intake filter, and then put your box on. Then you will be complete. I lied, you're not complete. You gotta put your snorkel back on. Other than that, that's pretty much the intake install wrapped up. It should, in reality, take you about 45 minutes if you're not idiots like us and keep making mistakes. As usual, like, subscribe, that nonsense I should say. We got some more videos coming out very soon that we're pretty excited about. One part that hasn't been quite released yet. And yeah, just stay tuned. Here's a sound clip of the intake at the end.